Welcome to another Wednesday WWE edition of Two Dudes with Attitudes. I'm Mr. MWO in the house, and with me as always is the honorary dude, the king of the gingers himself, Mr. Shooting Star Press. What's going on, my man?
Oh man, I'm battling a little bit of a cold, but just trying to make it work, make it happen.
I feel like the whole world is sick. I know. I'm coughing again. Patrick was making fun of me that all I do is cough on this podcast. I thought I got over it. Now I'm like coughing up a storm again. It's crazy.
It's those California germs, man. I'm telling you.
Dude, California, we spread the germs. We do. That's why we were like last people to ever end COVID too. I mean, we were like still doing COVID stuff once people were already like moved on with their lives. We were like still wearing masks and everything. So yeah, remember that's why we didn't have WrestleMania the year before. Woo, woo.
Yep. Fun
yes,
stuff.
Sir. I know, right? So yeah, we are definitely the sick. I mean, there's just too many travelers, too many different type of people. We have so much sickness just going Disneylands and the beaches and everything else. Yeah. So yeah,
and I've
crazy.
I've got kids in daycare, and daycares are just cesspools of bacteria.
Yep. And I work in one, so yes, sir.
Yeah.
But when you work with the same kids all the time, you tend not to get all there. You like become immune. It's like when you switch jobs out of childcare. So if you work at a childcare and then you go to a different one, then you start getting their germs. It's weird how it works. But yes, sir, let's get it, man. We were just discussing how upset we were that we went to a Monday Night Raw and it was the most god-awful wrestling event to ever happen on the face of this planet. And then they followed that up with two bangers because SmackDown, Raw, and NXT, I think, were like
all of them.
They were basically like, oh, AEW's bringing it. Hold my beer. And Triple H did his damn thing. No Vince was around, supposedly. We had returns of people who were mysteriously leaving. We have new heel turns. We have, I think, evidence of who the greatest heel in the business is. We have so much going on. So let's get into it, right? It is SmackDown time. And SmackDown brought it. I was happy SmackDown brought it. It followed up that awful Raw where we ended Brock Lesnar beating up Cody Rhodes for some reason. And we followed it up with a pretty darn good SmackDown. And you know, I got to talk about my boy, as always, Mr. Prison Dom himself. But I want to talk about all of Judgment Day because I got a little nervous on Monday. We talked about it, that Rhea came out separately, that it was just like Damian and Dom. No one was wearing like Judgment Day stuff. I got a little nervous. Where was Finn Balor? Did Edge erase him from the history forever? But no. They came out after Triple H made an announcement, which we'll talk about soon, and they did their damn thing. They were Judgment Day'd out. They all talked. They all had a good promo. I think this was like the best Judgment Day had looked in a long time. They need some wins to back it up, and they got one in a tag team match, and we'll talk about Monday Night Raw as well. But this is what Judgment Day needs to start doing. A few things, though. Rhea won, bringing it. Let's see if her and Bianca are going to wrestle or who they could even have. Are they going to have Selena Vega be next? I mean, it can work. Her and Selena got in a little thing. I know Selena's little, but Alexa Bliss was as well. I think it could still be a nice little good sell. And I mean, that's my like dream. I've had that dream a bunch of times of Rhea and Selena Vega wrestling together. So I'm all for it. I think it's a good start. I like Damian Priest. He's looking fierce. He wants to kick some Bad Bunny butt, amongst other things. And Finn Balor. The only thing I did like about Finn Balor's promo is that he brought up Edge again. Like, move on,
yeah,
bro.
Let it go,
brought
dude.
up Edge again, and I was like, dude, if you wrestle Edge again, I'm gonna jump off a cliff. Stop talking. Like, let's move on. Let Edge be retired again for a couple months and come back and feud with somebody else. Finn, move on. But I did like, because it's so heelish to do and so stupid that he was like, I only lost because that's not Finn Balor's accent at all. I don't know how to do his accent. I only lost Cheerio to but anyway, but he only lost due to due to too much violence. How do you have to break my skull to win in a Hell in a Cell match where people have literally been thrown off cages multiple times to their deaths almost? But yeah, but let's get mad about a chair getting hit into your face.
I know.
or a table or whatever it was. But yeah, but I thought that was kind of funny. But it's a very heel thing to say, right? Like you had to basically bust me. You had to cheat to beat me in a non-sanctioned Hell in a Cell match. But on top of that, I really, really, really got to talk about Dom. And I hadn't watched SmackDown yet. And you even sent me a text saying, dude, get prepared. Dom is getting some heat. And holy, the dude just holds the mic. And the crowd was like,
a word.
And he did great. He knows how to work it. He knew when to deliver it. He knew how to respond. And what was Dominic going to do? How is he going to come up with an excuse on why he lost to his dad? Bad Bunny cheated? Check. He didn't bring up the fact that he was slapped by his mom in front of the ref and beaten with a belt in front of the ref, but also 2 disqualifications. He could have brought that up, but he didn't. But he talked about how good of a son he is. He is such a good child and a good son that he didn't want to hit his dad. He doesn't want to fight his father. He doesn't want to do that. He can't hurt his own dad. And his dad is so willing to hurt his own son that he beat him in that match. And Dominic does not want to do that anymore. And it was awesome. Once again, Heel 101. I post this all the time on who the best heel in the wrestling business is. It is Dominic Mysterio. There is no question. Watch MJF's promo on Wednesday. I had people trying to fight me in the comments when I said that. You cannot tell me MJF's a heel when he spent a 45-minute segment getting cheered by the crowd. That's not what heels do. Dominic Mysterio is a heel. People hate him. They boo him. They want his head on a pike. They want him dead for what he's doing to Rey Mysterio. I guarantee Dominic gets crap if he's in a restaurant and somebody believes wrestling is real and attacks him on it. That's how big of a heel he is. This is like Roddy Piper stuff. This is old school heel. I'm loving it. The whole promo was awesome. They got the win. I'm digging it from all of them. We need to keep this going, and they need to keep winning. We need to stop at the Judgment Day losing. They all need to win. I don't care who they beat or how they win. They just need to continue this momentum because Judgment Day is money, man, especially with the bloodline probably not being as prominent as they were. This is going to be the faction to carry WWE for a minute.
Yeah, and that's my big fear is that they are going to lose. And I love these guys. They're all, even Rhea Ripley's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Damian Priest, he had an opportunity to shine where he said he forgave Bad Bunny for making him do what he did on Monday Night Raw.
Good
I love
stuff.
that. The heel tactics from Finn, and of course the Dom heel heat, can't get any better than that. But it is my fear that they are going to lose. If it is a 6-man tag, if it's Rey Mysterio and Bad Bunny and Escobar versus Dominic, Finn, and Damian Priest in Puerto Rico, is Rey going to go 2-for-2 against Dominic? I don't know. I don't want Judgment Day to lose. They need to get some wins. They need to get some wins, and even if it's just a tag match and it's Priest and Dominic against Rey and Bad Bunny. I can see WWE giving the victory to Bad Bunny and Rey in Puerto Rico, and that would make Dominic 0-2 against his father.
Yeah.
So that's my only concern. I want to see Judgment Day thrive. They are great heels. All of them are great heels. Dominic especially is a fantastic heel. The way he just garners heat without even saying a word. It reminded me of that time when the Undertaker or Roman Reigns beat the Undertaker at WrestleMania, and he came out the next night on Raw and couldn't even get a word in because the heat was so strong with him.
Yep.
And then he ended up saying, "There's 5 words. It's my yard now," and it was awesome. It was great. This reminds me a lot of that. Before Dominic can even get a word in edgewise, he's getting booed, and he handles it masterfully. He handles it perfectly. He doesn't let it get to him. He had a couple of flubs on Monday Night Raw, which we'll get into with.
We will. Yeah.
But I do think that for the most part, he's handled it well. He's gotten all the chants, the what chants, the you suck chants, the boos, and I think he's handled it well. And I think that, he's getting a monstrous push, as he should, and he's well deserved. And you can tell he's having the time of his life being a heel in the WWE. But I do worry that they're going to lose, and I don't want them to lose. I think that they need to win. They need to win. I know Rhea Ripley's probably going to get a win, but the rest of Judgment Day needs to follow up with some victories.
Well, and it doesn't look like they're breaking up, which is nice. And I think they need to keep Rhea in the front. She needs to be the front of center of attention. And why is wrestling guy booing us or what we're talking about?
He's giving us heel heat.
Oh, got
Yeah,
it.
we
Got it.
can't
I'll
give in.
take it.
Can't give in.
I'll take
Yeah.
it. I'll take it. What? But yeah, so I think Rhea needs to be front and center always. She's the champ. They need to, I know she's the only female, make her the center, the guys behind her. Secondly, I don't think they're going to wrestle at Puerto Rico. I think that's where they're going to set the match up because I think he's just going to be the like spokesperson and hopefully they can wrestle at SummerSlam or another event is what I'm hoping. So then they can get the win. I think Dom will interrupt him while they're talking or Judgment Day will come out. Bad Bunny and Ray will get the upper hand, maybe Santo Escobar, whatever, and they'll punch him and let the Puerto Rico crowd go crazy, and then that'll lead to their match, and hopefully Judgment Day will get the win.
So.
That's what I'm hoping.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope that's the case because I don't want to see Judgment Day. They can't go back-to-back pay-per-views taking straight L's.
No.
Then they're not going to have any credibility, and it'll just be like the Finn Balor Edge stuff all over again, where Edge got 2-3 wins over Finn Balor and Finn only got the one. And it didn't.
Yeah.
None of those victories made any sense. And this will be the same way. I want to see Dominic get the best of Ray, and I have a feeling Ray's going to start off getting the best of Dom.
Yeah, we'll see.
So, but yeah, that was good stuff. That was a good promo from Judgment Day, and right before that, we had the announcement from one Hunter Hearst Helmsley, Triple H, The Game, Paul Levesque, whatever you want to name, whatever you want to name him, this chief content officer of the WWE. He came out. First of all, I was under the impression that this announcement was going to open the show. I'm pretty sure there was a tweet or something from the WWE that said Triple H will open SmackDown tonight with an announcement. And when I turned on SmackDown and the first thing is Gunther and the Imperium against Sheamus and the Brawling Brutes, it's like, okay, there's no Triple H here. But I know cards are subject to change. But then Triple H did eventually come out right before the Judgment Day segment, and he actually introduced Rhea Ripley and the rest of the Judgment Day, which I thought was pretty cool. But long story short, he didn't say anything different than what he said on Monday Night Raw. He touted the success of WrestleMania, how it was one of the highest grossing WrestleManias of all time, and basically saying we're millionaires and you're not, and we took your money, and we're Vince is basically resting
we took your money.
Yeah, we took your money, and it's all in our pockets, and we just sold for $21 billion, but WrestleMania was very successful. And then I was waiting for him. I was like, okay, this is the exact same thing he said on Raw. He's not saying anything different. And then he threw in the caveat, the monkey wrench. He said, we're bringing back the WWE draft, and it's going to change the game, and every superstar is eligible for the draft. So that was all he said. There was no date. We don't know when. A few weeks,
he said, I think.
Yeah, he said it's in a few short weeks, but there's no date. There's no are NXT superstars eligible in it? Is it just WWE? Is it what are the parameters? Where is the draft going to be on an episode of Raw or SmackDown? Is it going to be its own thing on the WWE network? All he said was the draft will be in just a few short weeks, and it's going to change the game because he's the game. Ha 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 ha. And then don't hate the player. And then he leaves, or then he introduces Judgment Day, and then we go into that cool segment with Dom and the heel and everything, which was great. But I gotta say, man, Triple H is starting to look a little bit like Tony Khan with these announcements, where back-to-back shows, back-to-back announcements, and to me, this one was a dud. I'm not a fan of the draft. I think it's especially because they don't follow it. They don't adhere to it. Rey Mysterio, for example, is technically a SmackDown superstar. He moved to SmackDown because Dominic was tormenting him on Monday Night Raw. But magically, on the weeks leading up to WrestleMania, after he gets he's announced as the inductee in the Hall of Fame, there's Rey Mysterio showing up on Monday Night Raw randomly. Or Rhea Ripley is able to compete for the SmackDown Women's Championship, even though she's a Raw superstar. So that one made sense because she won the Rumble and she got to pick. But still, just they don't adhere to it. You see guys going. LA Knight was on an episode of Raw. Bray Wyatt was on Raw, in SmackDown with this whole Alexa Bliss thing, and LA Knight's a SmackDown guy and he's been on Raw and SmackDown. They don't stick to it. And if they're actually going to stick to it, then maybe it could be a good thing, but I don't know. I'm not feeling the draft. I'm not really feeling it. I don't really care for it. I think it's I don't hate it, but I don't like it. And also like, who's doing it? Who's doing it? Is Adam Pearce drafting against himself? Is that how they're doing it? Is he just gonna? Oh man, I can't believe I missed out on Gunther at number 2 on SmackDown. Oh, but I'm gonna get Sheamus at number 3 for Monday Night Raw. Oh, I don't understand. I don't get it. So I wish he would have explained the rules a little bit better, and I wish he would have just come out and said, who's eligible? Are champions eligible? Are champions going to both shows? Does this mean that they're going to split the belts? All this stuff. But yeah, I wasn't really feeling this announcement from Triple H.
Yeah. So the draft is a weird thing. So here's the thing. When they first did the draft many moons ago, I think that was when the Undertaker stormed out or whatever. It was
Ric Flair was the GM.
Yeah. At least it was different. So they separated it. They treated it as 2 different organizations. They had different pay-per-views, SmackDown only, Raw only. Then they would mix here and there for the big ones, but they still didn't wrestle each other. And if they did, it felt special. That's when the draft worked. The draft hasn't worked in a decade. The draft now is just a ratings ploy. It's a way to get children and just casual fans to tune in thinking like, hey, maybe I'll see John Cena get drafted. I mean, homeboy Gable Stevenson got drafted. The guy's never even wrestled, and he just announced he's going back to the Olympics. He's not even a part of the and he was like a number 2 draft pick or something.
Yeah.
The draft is a joke.
Waste of a pick.
It is. And it's stupid because, like you said, they don't. So unless they're going to separate and make it 2 different organizations again, where SmackDown is SmackDown and Raw is Raw, and you got to tune in to whatever one you want to see somebody. So if you're a big Finn Balor fan, then you better go watch SmackDown. It's stupid. And it's also a way to break up tag teams, to break up factions. It's just stupid. They need to do it as if the Judgment Day is going, it should be the Judgment Day. You shouldn't pray. If it's going to be the Alpha Academy they're attacked, then they should bring the Alpha Academy. And it's not like you need a certain amount of people in each one. But also it's stupid too, because they've done things where the SmackDown champion goes to Raw. And so they either swap belts, or now the SmackDown championship just becomes the Raw Women Championship. And then what about like Roman Reigns? And what about KO and Sammy? Are they automatically not in the draft because they're both champions, so they get to float back and forth? Are we not going to put them in? Or if they put them in, then are we going to split the belts? Is that why we're doing this draft? So we can finally split the belts again and create new championships? Because if that's the reason, cool. But once again, you got to keep them separated. I hate it. I hate the way they do this drafts. It's stupid. It's all just to get like a quick one-night pop, and then they throw it all away sooner or later. I don't care to watch it. I'm not a fan of it. When Triple H said it, I was like, meh. At least it was an announcement. Just because I didn't like it doesn't mean it wasn't an announcement. But I was like, meh, I can give 2 rats about the draft. I'm not a fan of it. And I haven't been forever. I mean, like I said, there's no point if you're not going to switch it up. And I think they will bring NXT people. I think this is another reason. I'm hoping it's to change the belts, split the belts, and to bring over some NXT people. I mean, obviously you're going to see Braun Breaker come over, and possibly Grayson Waller after he loses a championship match again. I think they're going to start bringing some people over. But yeah, man, I'm not. It is what it is. I
think the draft can work if they do it right. But the way they've been doing it, where like the last time they did it, I think they had like fake Fox executives in the war room.
So that's what they're probably going to do again. Yeah, which was even dumber.
That's dumb. Yeah. I want them to make it. And I also don't like that it's in the middle of an episode of Monday Night Raw or SmackDown, because then you're going to have guys like, oh, I got to wrestle, and this could be my last appearance on Raw, and then they're there in 2 weeks. So, I mean, I think they could, if they made it its own like special on the WWE network, and you did it similar to like the NFL draft, and you have like guest pickers, and you have people coming out making picks and getting their. I think you can make it work. You can make it work, but if it's in the middle of an episode of Raw or SmackDown, I'm not feeling it. It's
going to be split between both for sure, and it'll be fake executives again high-fiving in the war room. It's going to be dumb.
That we'll never see. And again, I made a TikTok about this yesterday, but do they bring back the on-screen authority figures, the GMs for the because otherwise it's just Adam Pearce
Yeah.
drafting for Adam Pearce. Oh, I
But see, I
want
don't think he drafts though. I think they're going to do the stupid executive thing again. I think that's what it is,
yeah,
like Fox and USA or whatever, or
yeah,
Universal or
yeah.
whatever. That's what I'm assuming. They can't have Adam Pearce draft unless Triple H is going to. I
He
don't know.
drafts for himself.
Yeah, maybe they'll have Triple H
Oh,
and Vince.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Either way, yeah, we'll see what happens. But talk about not giving up on things with the draft. Sammy and Jay are back, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Sammy and KO win the tag team titles. You're thinking, okay, maybe they're gonna move on, and they have the rematch and so on. But no, Sammy cuts a promo with KO about how he really wants to bring Jay back and back into the fold, and how much he wants him to, basically overthrow Roman Reigns and realize that the bloodline is bad. And KO tells him, hey, you never listen to me. You're not going to listen to me, but don't do it. And then Sammy just walks out, and KO always has like the funny lines of like, yep, see, not even listening to me now. But he just kind of walks out. And I wanted to touch on this because I like it. And I know they're rehashing again, and I know they ended up wrestling, and I think you want to talk about the match and other things, but I just want to talk about them bringing it back because I still believe that the story is Jay. Jay is going to end the bloodline. Jay will win the championship. They're calling him main event Jay now, every match he has had. He's doing solo matches. They basically took away Jimmy altogether on this SmackDown episode, although he came back on Monday. But they're starting to get there with him. And I think it's good things because I think eventually when Jay does turn, he will maybe not become a crew member of Sammy, but they will have a mutual relationship and build that trust on, yeah, you were right all along. It'll go from Jay hating him to liking him to hating him to liking him. And that's what a story arc is, people. So I like it. I'm excited about it. I don't want them to bring it up every week, but hopefully they, we keep rehashing it, and maybe Sammy does weird things here and there or sends them chocolates and love letters. I don't know. Whatever they want to do here and there. Or maybe you see Sammy and Jay talking in the background of a promo. That's what they like to do. Anything like that, I'm all for. I kind of want to see this build up because whether it be next year at WrestleMania or whatever, once again, let's keep this long-term storytelling going. And I think Jay and Sammy need to be a part of each other's story in the end as well.
Yeah, I liked it too. At first, I was kind of skeptical of it. I was like, I don't want to see this again. But it also just shows. I'm also glad that they're just not moving on from it to get all together and just going on to face another completely different tag team at Backlash. They're still talking about the bloodline because it was a huge story and it was a big part of Sami Zayn's rise to the top of the WWE and to the main event of WrestleMania was his whole arc with the bloodline. And for him to just move on, I think that would be doing everyone a disservice. So I liked it. I like that he's still, you can tell that he doesn't want to fight Jey Uso. He doesn't want to fight his friend. He actually genuinely cares about him, which a lot of times when you see a breakup in wrestling, you see it the other way. It's, I'm done with him. This guy was trash. He was awful. He held me back and I'm glad to be done with them. And then, but this is, you can tell that they're torn. You can tell Jay's torn too. He's torn with, does he stay with the bloodline? Does he stay with his brother? The only reason that he came back to and turned on Sammy in the first place was because of his brother Jimmy. It had nothing to do with Roman. Didn't have anything to do with Solo. It was because of his brother. Because Roman was going to take it out on Jimmy if Jay didn't come back. So I love this. I'm glad that they're still revisiting it. I hope I don't want there to be like dissension between Sammy and KO because of this. Yeah. I'm over that. They just got back together. We don't need to cause any more tension or strife within them because of this. Let them. I like the way KO handled it. Like you're not. I'm going to tell you I don't like it, but you're going to do it anyway. Keep doing that, but we also don't need to do this every single week, like you said.
Yeah. Yep. Yes, sir.
So, yeah, and then the match itself, the Sami Zayn Jey Uso main event. Yeah, I mean, the match was what it was. It wasn't anything spectacular. Prior to this, we heard during this beatdown or during this segment with Jay and Sami, you heard a ruckus in the background. You heard what sounded like a pipe dropping or something, just a metal thing hitting the ground. And they run out there and you see Kevin Owens, he's been attacked. And you could tell it was Solo Sikoa. And so that means KO is not going to be at ringside to help out to help out his brother Sammy in the match against Jay. So that was a cool little story there. And so the match was what it was. I don't know how I feel about Jey Uso getting the win. On one hand, I like it because he's main event Jey Uso, and if he is the one to dethrone Roman, he needs to get some singles wins, and we kind of get to see him away from Jimmy, see what he can do by himself, and he can go. He's really good, but at the same time, Sammy and KO just won those tag belts, and I feel like here they are losing right away. Here he is losing right away, and KO lost on Raw. I don't know. It kind of took away from that moment for me a little bit, but I understand why Jay got the win. And then at the end, instead of Kevin Owens coming out, it was Matt Riddle. Matt Riddle runs out, and I liked it because it followed up on the story that Solo was the one that took out Matt Riddle. And it was Riddle went on the shelf, not because of the bloodline. We all know his personal stuff that happened. We don't need to talk about that. But his storyline wise, he went out on the shelf because of the bloodline. And if this had been the way that Riddle had returned on Raw when we were there, I would have loved it. I would have thought this was fantastic. But because he came out, we'd already seen him earlier in the week, so I didn't pop as hard. But I love the way that he came out and got involved in the bloodline and helped out Sammy from the beatdown of Jay and KO, or Jay and Solo rather. And I like that they evened it up, and maybe we're getting another 6-man match at Backlash with KO, Sammy, and Riddle against Jimmy, Jay, and Solo. Or maybe, I don't know. There's so many different areas that this story can go, but I did like the addition of Riddle. I wish that this had been how he returned on Raw. I think the pop would have been louder, and I think it would have been even better because again, long-term storytelling. Instead of him randomly attacking the Miz, which the Miz had nothing to do with any of this, if he had returned this way and take out Roman, took out Solo, took out Jay or Jimmy in the backstage or something, I think that would have been cool. But it was what it was. I'm glad to see Riddle back, and I think he'll add some interesting dynamics to the bloodline as well.
Yeah, I mean, I like everything that led up to it. I like KO getting hurt. I actually don't mind Jay winning. They just lost the tag team match, so then to lose in a solo match after that, it was either going to be a DQ or a Jay win. And I think Jay needs to get some solo wins, and it doesn't hurt Sammy. He's a tag team champion, so he can lose single matches. Riddle thing, I get in the standpoint that he was hurt by the bloodline. I hope it's just a one-off. I don't want to see KO, Sammy, and Riddle become like a faction or a crew. I know Riddle has nothing else to do, but I don't want to see him, and it looks like they're going to keep because they talked about him on Raw too. I don't want to see them become like a crew at the moment, but it looks like they're going to. I don't know. I don't mind Riddle. It's just I don't know, weird group of dudes, but I guess it can work. I guess it can work to battle the bloodline for a little bit longer. And obviously Roman's not going to be at Backlash, so you might as well have a 6-man tag, which makes sense. And we'll see who wins. I'm assuming Jay will get the pin, but I mean, time will tell. But yeah, it was a good segment. I liked it. Great match. It was like 15 minutes, but it did its point, and they always bring it. So Jay and Sammy have good chemistry. And I like that they did wrestle, and I like that Sammy didn't want to. So it's good stuff. Good builds. Man. And then we go into Monday Night Raw, which, I mean, if our Monday Night Raw was a -8, this Monday Night Raw was probably like an 8. So that's like a 16-point increase from the Monday Night Raw we went to the one that they ended up showing. I actually thought Raw was better than SmackDown. Like I said, they brought it, and we start off on, once again, Judgment Day. Dom and Ray came out. They didn't start it, but that's how I want to start. And Ray is going to wrestle Finn Balor because Dom doesn't want to hit his dad. So Dominic did. This was probably, he went from like one of his best mic nights to probably his worst. He fumbled words right off the bat. He fumbled words in the ring. There was a few things off. I was going to talk about it too during like the Trish and Becky match. I heard, rumor has it, that there was a bunch of rewrites, and not because of Vince, but because of travel issues. That's why Riddle wasn't there, and KO and a bunch of other people. So they had to like wing this. Seth Rollins. So they were just like winging scripts. And I don't think people understand how hard it is to memorize lines. So I don't know if that was it. Maybe Dom wasn't supposed to come out and do this thing, and that's why he flubbed. It just seemed like an off night, even though Raw was really good and the stories were great and good matches. But it did seem off. But yes, he did fumble his words a lot. But either way, we got to the point that he wants to kick Bad Bunny's butt, and he doesn't want to fight his dad anymore because he's not that kind of son. But he knows somebody that will. And Finn Balor comes out. They have a good match. And Finn gets a win. And that's what we need. Once again, I don't care how you get the wins. We need to build on Judgment Day. It looked good. It was nice to see Ray can take as many L's as he wants. He's already Hall of Famer. It's not like it's going to hurt him at all. I'm just wondering where we're going with it. Are we going to get Escobar, Ray, and Bad Bunny versus, the 3 Judgment Day dudes? Or are we going to get just Priest and Dom versus Ray and Bad Bunny? So there's so many ways it can go. But like we both said, it needs to end with Judgment Day winning. This is the one thing I will miss with the draft, though, is that things like Judgment Day, they're so darn good. Things like Bloodline, it's so good that when you see them on SmackDown and Raw, it's nice. Like seeing Dom both times, cutting these promos, it's good. But sometimes less is better as well. So maybe you'll want to miss it more if you only get to see them once a week. But I did like seeing them go back and forth, and I like what they're doing with this Judgment Day build and the feud with the LWO. So
yeah, I loved it. I thought I think it was just a rough night all around in terms of travel and everything, and we'll chalk that. We can just chalk that up for what that was, and for the microphone flubs and everything. But no, I thought it was good, and I do like, excuse me, I do like that. Finn Balor got a win after losing to Edge. He needed one big time.
Yes.
I did like that Dominic finally got to hit his father with the chain too.
Yes,
there
sir.
was no Bad Bunny there to take it away from him. There was nobody there to stop him. He actually got to get that in on his father, and I think it's good stuff. I loved all of it. It's entertaining. It's fun to watch, and I'm really excited to see what they do with it because it's really good stuff.
I agree.
So let's talk. Moving on from the greatness of the Judgment Day, let's talk the women's division a little bit.
All right.
I'll save the one that you really want to talk about for you.
Yes, sir.
I want to talk about the Io Sky versus Michin versus Piper Niven match for the #1 contendership for the Raw Women's Championship. First of all, I love that they're playing off the angle that the Damage Control is going to break up, and that it looks like they may finally turn on Bayley, because originally it looked like Bayley was going to get the #1 contender match, and they were like, go back in there. We don't care who it is, as long as it's one of us and not you, because it's time for us to get our shine. So I did like that. I thought that was cool. And then she goes back in there and comes out, and it's Io Sky that gets the pick. And I thought the match was what it was. Nothing too spectacular, nothing too great, nothing really stood out. But I did like I like the fact that Io Sky is now the new #1 contender for the Raw Women's Championship. I'm curious to see if this means that they turn on Bayley and they can continue their thing. If the group just breaks up altogether, is there a swerve coming where Bayley and Dakota Kai stay together and they turn on Io Sky and they cost her the Raw Women's Championship? Is there a swerve coming to where Bayley and Io Sky kick Dakota Kai out because Bayley only wants to be affiliated with winners? And I don't know. There's so many ways that they can go with this. I don't think Bianca Belair is losing the belt to Io Sky at all, but I do like that. I do like that it's not Bayley getting the rub. I do like that it's somebody younger, one of the up and coming people. I think Io Sky can go. She's kind of like Asuka in a lot of ways, where she can go in the ring. She can, she was big in NXT, and I think she can go. I think she's really, really good, and I'm curious to see because I think I'm more excited about the story with this. Does Bayley turn on both of them? Do they turn on Bayley and stay together and stay a tag team? Is there a swerve coming? There's all kinds of ways that they can go, and I do like it. How does Io Sky not come out with the Raw Women's Championship, because I don't think she's winning it, but I'm curious to see how she loses it.
Well, and that'll be the end, right? So I did like it.
Yeah.
For one, all these gossipers, as always, this is why I don't listen to dirt sheets or read them, said Bailey was done. She walked out, and then there she is.
Yeah.
She walked out all right out of Adam Pearce's office. I did find it curious, though, because she walked out and she was very braggy about, getting another title opportunity. And Dakota Kai, once again, looked amazing. Good for her.
Oh, yeah.
And Io Sky, they're hanging out, and they basically say, like you said, get back in there. And she did it. She didn't even hesitate. She didn't get mad. So it seemed like it was like, okay, I'm the leader and we're all family here. We're a crew. Let me go back in. I didn't like that they didn't tell us how it got to Io Sky. It was just like her music just hit. By the way, she got a banger. I didn't know that was when that music hit. I was like, dang, what song is this? Song. I thought we had a new person, and then it said Io Sky, and I was like, oh, never mind, it's Io Sky. She was the right person. I love Dakota Kai. I love her. She's great. She's been around for a while. I think Io Sky was the better pick, more believable person to maybe beat Bianca, especially like you said, after Asuka. But the match itself was whatever. You knew Io Sky. I mean, look at it was going to be Piper or where the heck has Mitchin been? All of a sudden, she's just like It was a weird triple threat pairing. I'm assuming travel once again. I bet that was not. I guarantee none of that was the original idea. So obviously, and it was following up from last week when they were supposedly having the triple threat match to lead to who's number one for Bianca. Remember, and it got scrapped.
Yeah,
so
there's supposed to be two of them. Yeah,
two of them. Yeah. So I did like Io winning. I like where this is going. I'm assuming it's going to lead to her losing and then Bailey turning on them, saying, "See, you thought you were better than me. You guys are losers," and yada yada yada. That's what I think is going to happen. But I do like it, and I like that the women's division is getting a good rub. And speaking of a good rub. Trish Stratus, ladies and gentlemen, helping that women's division anyway, PG, y'all, PG. So I think the WWE finally realized that Lita wrestles like a sloth and maybe she should not be a tag team wrestler at the moment. And so they fake injure her. We don't know who wins. We don't know who did it. I mean, they don't know what happened. She was just laying there. Even did she get hit with something? I don't know. She was just on her knees, ow, my head, and then basically moved on with their lives. Wrestling guy, Asuka and Sky as a tag team would be fire, straight up fire. And that's why we're talking about the tag teams right now. So Trish Stratus steps in for Lita to wrestle Liv and Raquel. And so they have a pretty decent match. And Trish gets rolled up pretty basically, not even a tight roll up. She just kind of gets rolled up by Liv, and Liv and Raquel are the new champs, which I think it's how it should be. I think the Trish and them and Lita and Becky were just champs just to do the feud at WrestleMania. So it's nice to have a real current wrestlers, and not huge solo stars become. And Liv and Raquel being champs and tag teams, I think helps them. So, and hopefully they'll defend it and do something with it. But the match was good itself in ways. It seemed, and they kept bringing it up. They kept talking about it, that it seemed like they were out of sync. And Corey Graves kept saying, oh, it's because they haven't wrestled together. But it's not like Lita and Becky were this long-term tag. I was confused, but I don't know. There was even parts where Becky verbally was Trish, get over here. And then Trish went over and held her, or she had to move her a couple times. They missed tags. They seemed very. I don't know if it was on purpose or not. I was wondering if they were doing it on purpose to show, maybe Trish wasn't carrying, but it was very off. It was a very weird match. Even the end. So basically, Becky gives her a hug and says it's okay. You lost it in a roll up. Obviously, we learned that was on purpose. I'm assuming she rolled up like that on purpose to take the L. But which I also always think it's weird too. I'm glad she took the L like that and didn't turn because of it. Because I've always said, if you're going to turn, why the heck would you have a whole match and get your butt kicked and try to win if you were just going to turn on them in the end? So it looks like she did it on purpose. I'm assuming when she gives a reason, she'll say that. That's why she stepped in. But Becky turns her back and Trish grabs her head and throws it into the rope. I don't know what, she didn't It was weird. And then when she got up, she tried to give her chick kick, which is an awesome move, but it turned out like a side sweet chin music. It wasn't even and then it was all very weird. It was off, but I love it Trish being a heel is money. For one, I told you this before we got on here. Trish looks better than all of those girls, and she's like 15 years older than them. She looks phenomenal. She is in shape. She's gorgeous. Everything about her. She can go in the ring still. She's still fluent in there. And her being a heel, I think, is the way to go. Let's build them up and have a feud soon. I think Becky has nothing else better to do. Why not face the greatest women's wrestler of all time? I'm all for it. Trish being a heel, I mean, she was a good heel back in the days. And yeah, man, I liked it. I like the turn. I wish it would have been done a little bit better, but like I said, everything seemed a little bit off. See, Patrick Anthony knows what's up. Once again, Trish, man, I'm telling you, I was going back and looking at old pictures of Trish. She looks so much better now, and she was a 10 back then. So what does that make her now? Like, holy cow, that woman is a goddess.
She's aging like fine. 100%.
Yeah,
she's like Benjamin Button. She's getting better.
Definitely. So am I off with this? Did you think the match was off? The end? Do you like it?
I thought this was. It wasn't a bad match, but it was just something weird about it. It was just they were just off. They were out of sync, and there's part of me that wonders it's because Trish carried a lot of that match. She did a lot of the work in that match, and that's probably the longest she's gone in a wrestling ring in a long time. So maybe that's why she was out of sync a little bit, and Becky had to kind of coach her. And maybe this was a last minute decision because of the travel issues, and maybe she wasn't expecting to wrestle, and they didn't get a chance to plan everything out like they normally do. And because I don't buy the whole they haven't partnered together when they just teamed together at WrestleMania. So, so Corey Graves, he
was trying. He was trying.
I get it. Yeah. And but they just wrestled together at WrestleMania, so they clearly have chemistry. But the whole thing just seemed off. And but I do like Trish Stratus as a heel. I think it was a matter of when she was going to turn, not if. I'm curious to see how Lita gets involved. Does she get in the ring with Trish again? Are they going to have a one-on-one match? Is it going to be Becky and Lita against Trish in a handicap match of some sort? Is Trish going to find another partner?
Did Trish hurt Lita? Was she the reason?
Yeah, was she the reason? Yeah, I'm assuming she was. They tried to accuse Raquel Rodriguez and Liv Morgan of doing it, and they had nothing to do with it, obviously. But I think that's the whole angle, and I like it. I think Trish as a heel, it's good. I think it'll give Becky Lynch something to do. It'll give her a good program to go into SummerSlam. It'll be a good marquee match at SummerSlam, especially if she's not competing for titles or anything. If you're going to keep her out of the title picture, keep her but keep her relevant. Have her in the ring with Trish Stratus. Have her in the ring with Lita. So I'm digging it. I didn't dig the match so much, but Trish as a heel, I think is good stuff.
Agreed.
But they certainly seemed out of chemistry and out of sync for sure. But,
all right. What's the last thing you loved? What is it?
Oh man, with Monday Night Raw. Let's talk Cody's promo. The Cody Rhodes Brock Lesnar promo.
All right.
He essentially, first of all, he called it WrestleMania Backlash, which I thought the pay-per-view was just called Backlash. But so
I think it is WrestleMania Backlash, right?
Is it? I thought. Yeah. I know last year they were big on WrestleMania Backlash, but I didn't know that was the name of it this year. I thought it was just Backlash this year because I thought Triple H was, keeping up with the 21st century and. But anyway. But anyway.
Yeah.
I'm actually digging this. I think I like how they tied in the bloodline to it as well by interviewing Paul Heyman earlier in the night to see if he had anything to do with it or if he could give any insight on it. And he completely dodged the question. So it makes me wonder if Paul Heyman had something to do with Brock Lesnar's attack on Cody Rhodes. Is he going to go back to being an advocate? I doubt that, but maybe he paid him off because Brock only cares about money. The whole thing was weird that they played up the whole Brock was unhappy about his spot on the WrestleMania card. They play, which that's a weird reason to beat up somebody. Because he opened night 2 and Cody closed night 2 in the main event.
Yeah,
but even though Brock all he had to do was beat Roman, and he could main event night 2. Like it
He
was,
had opportunities. He was in the Rumble too, so it didn't make
yeah,
any sense. Yeah.
yeah. So it was all weird. But I actually thought this was one of Cody Rhodes' best promos since he came
Mm-hmm.
out, since he came back. I love the passion that he's showing. He's getting
Mm-hmm.
better and better on the mic each week too. And I haven't been the biggest Cody Rhodes supporter, but I do think that he's finding his element in the WWE. And I think like we said last week, Roman beating him was the right decision, and I think the fans are going to really get behind him now, as he goes through these trials and tribulations against Brock and maybe Solo Sikoa, maybe Randy Orton. There's all kinds of ways that they can go before he meets Roman Reigns in the ring again. So I dug. I wish we would have gotten Brock Lesnar, but I know he's going to be on Raw. He's advertised for Raw next week. To answer why he attacked Cody Rhodes. I hope we actually get some sort of answer. And but at the end of the promo, Cody Rhodes did challenge Brock to a match at WrestleMania Backlash, and so it looks like that's probably going to be the main event, if I had to assume.
Yes.
And yeah, I'm excited for it. I think it'll be a good match. I think Brock is the perfect opponent for Cody Rhodes. And I'm excited about to see the story. I'm excited to see if the Bloodline did have anything to do with it. Did Paul Heyman have anything to do with it?
Yeah.
So I'm curious to see where they go with this.
I don't know. And I hate that they're trying to come up with an excuse. Like, when has Brock Lesnar ever needed reasons to kick people's asses? Like, that's just what Brock Lesnar does. Brock is going to Brock, right? But I agree with you. This was his best promo since he's come back by far. Cody killed it. I like that he's real. Like, he talked about the fact that, that I'm afraid, like, I'm scared of this guy. Like, this guy, I fear this guy. He's a UFC champion, a heavyweight champion, an NCAA, like amateur, like things you can't do. This guy has done, you know what I mean? He beat the snot out of me. I like that he has fear in him. I also like Cody's the perfect opponent for one, because Cody likes abuse. He likes getting cut up. He likes getting beat up. He's an AEW guy. That's who he is.
Oh yeah.
He's going to love going to Suplex City. Brock's not going to have to pull. Brock's going to be able to go a little bit harder on him, get a little bit more aggressive. I think their match is going to be a banger. I think Cody's going to win. And I think if you're trying to get back to Roman in the title match, who better than to start by beating Brock Lesnar? Like, Brock is that guy, right? If you beat Brock, you're usually like, Drew beat Brock, Seth beat Brock, Roman beat, like, Brock is like he's not a gatekeeper, so to speak. If you beat Brock, that's when you're elevating yourself. Shoot, he even brought up the Undertaker streak. Like, everything Brock does, he gets. So, and now you want me. So I loved it all. Great promo, great everything, passion. Cody's promos were getting great in AEW. So
yeah.
And they've gotten even better. And they're so simple. I mean, he has that Chris Jericho, stolen gimmick of the suit. He comes out, he does his thing, but it's methodic, and he just does his thing. And I'm all for it. I'm looking forward to this feud. I hope the Bloodline has nothing to do with it. I think that's just Paul Heyman nonsense. But if it is, it is. Because maybe it'll lead more, especially if it was the Bloodline, but then he beats Brock. So that just said, but then that makes Brock look weak if he's like a higher and like, whatever. And he can't even, he's Puss in Boots and can't get the job done. Right. Like, it's just not.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah, I hope they don't go that route with the Bloodline, where Paul Heyman pays him to take out Cody Rhodes, to, pays him under the table, or because that's an AEW story. MJF just did that like 5 times with Chris Jericho and Wardlow, and he did it to Brian Cage against Bryan Danielson to break his arm, pay him to break his arm, put a bounty on him. I don't want to see that anymore. I think
no.
I do like that they're bringing up the Bloodline. I like that Paul Heyman is dodging the question to make it look like he has something to do with it. But I think at the end of the day, it's Brock being Brock, and but the whole, he was unhappy with his placement on the WrestleMania card.
Stupid.
That's a stupid reason for this, and I hope that that's not the catalyst of this match. Is, well, you got the main event and I didn't, so I'm going to beat you up. Like, I hope that's not the angle that they go with. I really do.
Well, and especially because Chris Jericho has come out and said himself, wrestlers care about 2 things: you either open or you close.
Or close.
Those are the main events in both people's eyes. If you're opening, you're the main event.
Yeah.
If you don't want to be in the middle. So if Brock was like number 3 and then he got that squat, I get it. But he opened that. You want to open. Cena in theory, like, you either open or you close. That's how it works. So I didn't like that either. But either way, phenomenal Raw. Looking forward to moving it up. And NXT, man, let's get our ones in on NXT, man. NXT brought a banger as well. And speaking of people who are better as heels, Braun Breaker, man. Sometimes you need, I talked about this with Bianca. Sometimes you get stale. Sometimes fans turn on you. I know fans haven't turned on Bianca completely yet, although Asuka was getting a pretty huge pop during their match. But you get boring, right? A babyface is hard to be. It's hard to constantly find ways to get cheered unless you're John Cena or Hulk Hogan. Most people have to turn eventually, and Hogan eventually did for that reason. He got stale and boring. Braun Breaker, I think, got there. I think he wasn't finding himself. The crowd started booing him. We were there when Carmelo won, and it was 100% Carmelo Hayes fans. I don't think anybody was rooting for Braun. And last week he turned on Carmelo, and maybe you thought, he's just getting back at him. But no, he came out and interrupted Chase U and basically cut him off viciously. He's wearing all black. He basically said the title held him back. Now he's going to be who he wants to be. And he beat the snot, speared him up, didn't even care about the title match. He said, you can have it. You can have it. You can enter into this match. And he did his damn thing. And I'm liking it, man. It is so much. It's like Dominic when he was with Ray. He looked green. Then he became a heel. And you can kind of be yourself. Everybody has that in them. You know what I mean? It's very easy to say what you want, more so than saying stuff that has to sound right. It's hard to be Captain America. It's very easy to be, Thanos, right? I mean, it's just you could just be an a-hole. And so to come out and be that heel, Braun's doing it. And I know I do this with everything because I am the hugest Roman Reigns fans now, but I was not for his first 5 years of existence. I hated him. I couldn't stand it. I just think I hate baby faces. Why John Cena is my least favorite wrestler of all time. I just can't do it. I can't like baby faces. I don't know why. I haven't liked Braun Breaker. Now he wears a black, tank top and is saying bad things and beating up good guys. And I'm like, yeah, Braun Breaker. I'm about to order me a shirt. I'm already on the boat. I'm loving it. I think it's good for NXT as well, because even if he doesn't wrestle Carmelo Hayes anymore, they need a good, person to go with, Grayson Waller as another good heel. And I think this is perfect for Braun to evolve into Raw or SmackDown in the draft because they need more heels there too. And I think he would have drowned as a babyface because I don't think the crowd would have booed him anyway, and they wouldn't have reacted to him as well. So him coming in, he's going to get booed anyway. Might as well make him a heel, not an MJF heel, not a Roman Reigns heel, a heel where he's going to get booed out of the building. And I'm all for it. Shoot, maybe even let him pair up with Scott Steiner. Bring Big Papa Pump back as his manager. I'd be all for it.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. I would love that.
Yeah.
And I was a little skeptical of this heel turn last. I was like, okay, he's a heel now. But I actually kind of like the evolution, right? Where he was getting booed, not just at Stand and Deliver, but he was getting booed on just NXT television over the last couple of the build to Stand and Deliver. Carmelo Hayes was getting all the pops, and Braun Breaker, nobody really, even against Grayson Waller, he was getting booed. And Grayson Waller was getting the pops. And Grayson Waller is the biggest heel in the business, or the biggest heel in NXT. So I do like the evolution that he finally let the crowd get into him, and he gave in, and he turned and he snapped, and when he took out Chase U this week, and he didn't want to go for the I love that. I thought it was cool that he didn't want to go for the title, that the title's beneath him. He's bigger than the belt. He's bigger than Carmelo Hayes. I loved it. I loved all of it, and I want to see what they do with it. Hopefully he gets some good programs, and he has some good matches. I still don't necessarily know if he's quite ready for the main roster just yet. I want to see him as a heel in the NXT phase as a heel in NXT for a little bit before he goes to the main roster. But if they want to bring him up as a heel in the draft, I'd be okay with that too, because then he can go on the roster, and he can start stuff with the fans there and have some cool programs with Rey Mysterio. He can have some good matches with Matt Riddle. He can do some stuff there where he could become the biggest heel on Raw or SmackDown. So
him versus Otis, man, I'm all for it.
Oh, I would love, I would love it. Or Chad Gable. Chad Gable's getting babyface pops now too. So they had a great match with the Usos as well this week.
Yes,
too.
They did.
A big moment for them.
Yes, they did.
So yeah, I'm digging the Braun Breaker heel turn. I think it'll be good for NXT. I think it kind of gives you something else to build around besides the title matches, and kind of see why Braun Breaker's doing what he's doing, where he's going to go next, who his next match is going to be with. So I'm digging it. I love it.
Yes, sir.
And then speaking of, we talked about Grayson Waller for a little bit, but he is now the new #1 contender for the NXT Championship. And I love this, but I hate this. I love it because you got the best good guy in NXT, Carmelo Hayes, going against the best bad guy in NXT in Grayson Waller. I hate it because it probably means that Grayson Waller is going to take another L in his career, which he's taken a lot of those L's lately. He lost at Stand and Deliver to Johnny Gargano. He lost the Iron Survivor match. He's lost I think he lost to Carmelo Hayes recently, just in a match for like the North American Championship or something recently as well. He lost to Braun Breaker. So I don't like that they're going to make Grayson Waller lose, because I think he needs a series of wins too, because I do think that he's a really good heel. He's probably, to me, behind Dominic, is maybe the second best heel in the WWE, because he gets hate. He gets booed before he even before he even says a word, and the crowd hates him. And so I love it because you get the best good guy, Carmelo Hayes, one of the most over baby faces you have, and then you have the best bad guy in Grayson Waller going at it. But it also kind of feels forced because you kind of want to see Braun Breaker against Carmelo Hayes at Spring Breaking. But I mean, I'm okay with I love it. I do love it, but I hate it because Grayson Waller is going to take an L, and I think it's way. He needs some wins. He needs some good wins, especially if they're going to draft him or if he's going to come up in the main roster soon. He needs to go out of NXT with some momentum.
Yeah, I feel we were going with that. I agree with you fully on both ways. Here's the thing, right? I don't think they wanted Carmelo and Braun again because I don't think Carmelo could have beat him again, especially if they were going to turn him heel. I just think it would have been a bad move to have Braun lose. But they could have had him wrestle anyone, JD, somebody else, like get a win, just so Carmelo can get some wins. Here's the thing, with you saying all that, maybe I always said Carmelo's ready for the big show. And I always said I didn't want him to go to Raw or SmackDown until he had the title. Maybe they just said, hey, we're going to put it on you, dude, and then you're going to drop it and go to the big show. And maybe Waller will get the win. Maybe they're going to give him just a quick, maybe this was just to get it off Braun and give it to Carmelo. So he had that one. So he can always say he was the champ, like champ on my shirt and like, Johnny Wrestling and everyone else before they left. You got to have you've earned it, right? When you've carried the company, you deserve to carry their #1 title. So maybe they are. I don't know when the spring break thing is, when the match is. I don't know if it's 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 2 weeks. So that'd be like a month reign. I mean, we've seen reigns like that before. I don't know. I think it's going to be Grayson Waller losing again, which is bad because he just took 3 back to back. I mean, he's lost 3 or 4
a lot.
Every pay-per-view he's losing. So. And I know he's a heel, and that's what we do with heels, right? We have him lose all the time, but I don't know. You never know. Something might come out of it, but I'm just like you. I hate it. I love it. I'm indifferent because if he loses again, then what's the point? Why didn't you just have somebody else wrestle and maybe have them go later on because he just took an L? But I guess he won in between because he won the match to get the title. I don't know.
Yeah.
But Carmelo's ready, so you never know. Maybe they're just letting him have it for a month. I mean, they've done that. Samoa Joe had it for like a month. There's people have had a very short NXT reign. So
yeah, that's true.
Maybe.
That's true.
Maybe. And the draft's coming. The draft's after that.
Yeah.
2 weeks, and the draft he said in a few weeks. So maybe maybe he'll lose and then get drafted on SmackDown the next night or something.
Yeah, I wouldn't hate that. I do think of everybody in NXT, I think Carmelo Hayes is the most ready for the main roster. I think he's more ready than Braun Breaker. Like I said before, I want to see Braun as a good heel in NXT before he makes any sort of run on the main roster. But I think Carmelo Hayes is way past ready. I think he's been ready for a while. So yeah, I could see that too. And if that's the case, then I don't hate this as much. So because then you get a heel champion in NXT with Grayson Waller, and everybody hates Grayson Waller, and everyone's going to be gunning for him. So I'd be down with that.
I agree. I agree. All right. Good week of wrestling. Let's get into the segment, huh? Let's get into our WWE segment of the week. And it's a new one that Mr. Shooting Star Press has created. And it is called True or False, ladies and gentlemen. You can do the sounds, or should I?
Yeah, I got yeah.
Oh, it's true. It's damn true.
Or
False.
that's all I got. Yeah.
That's perfect. So this is where we're going to bring up 2 ideas each, where it may be a future match, and if it's going to happen, true or false. So as always, Mr. Shooting Star Press, you get to go first. What is your first true or false?
Oh, man. Okay. All right. I know I texted you some before this, but those were just examples. But
okay. I prepped for
nothing. All right. Cody Rhodes should be the one to dethrone Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 40 next year. True or false?
So should or it's going to happen. So this is if it's going to happen, right? That's why it's true or false, right?
Yeah. Cody Rhodes will be the one to dethrone Roman Reigns.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to go false. I'm going to go false. I don't think it's going to be him. I know he said that. Ooh, that's right. I forgot about the add-in. I'm going to go with false. I know that he's still continuing his story and this and that and everything else. But if it goes all the way to WrestleMania 40, I don't think we're going to have a rematch. I still think Jay is the one to do it. And I think now they're starting to build Jay up. Why would they start having him kind of go solo? And I mean, he's wrestling without his shirt off now. That usually means you're ready for the big, no champion. Yeah, champions other than Mick Foley don't wrestle with shirts on, right? You take your shirt off. I mean, he's getting fit. I mean, it's just, I'm going to go with Jay being the one. So I'm going to say false.
Yeah, I like that. I'm going to say true and false for this.
Oh, okay.
Because I think Cody Rhodes is going to beat Roman Reigns next year at WrestleMania 40. But I think Jey Uso is going to win Money in the Bank. And as soon as Cody Rhodes wins it, Jey Uso is going to cash in Money in the Bank and take the belts from Cody Rhodes. And then we build to Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso for over the next couple of months while Roman takes a break. And then that builds to Roman versus Jey again sometime next year. So that's what I would like to see happen.
All right.
True and false for that one.
All right. Well, now you just killed one of my Money in the Bank things. So, all right. So let's do this. Are you ready? True or false? All right. Trish versus Becky is going to happen at SummerSlam, baby.
Oh, it's true. It's damn true.
You think they'll wait that long?
100. Yeah, I think they'll wait. I think they'll probably do a tag match or something going into Backlash and Money in the Bank. And I mean, we do have a long time between now and SummerSlam.
4 months, right? I think.
Yeah. I do think it'll happen though. I think that they'll find a way to hold it off because Trish, I don't know what her contract details are. I don't know if she's like coming out every week or if she,
she has been.
Yeah, she has been. So I don't know what the status of that is. I don't know. Maybe now because WrestleMania is over, she'll be around less. But I think we'll get Lita versus Trish before we get to Becky versus Trish, because she did attack. If she is the one that attacked Lita backstage, then that only makes sense for them to have a match. I hope I wouldn't mind seeing that, but Lita wrestles like a sloth, like you said earlier, and so I cringe every time she's in the ring right now because I worry she's going to break something. But yeah, I do think Becky and Trish should happen at SummerSlam.
All right, good job. You're up. Last one. Right. Let's see what it is.
Okay. You know what? I'll give you one. Gunther versus Brock Lesnar should happen at SummerSlam.
For the IC title?
For the IC title, yeah.
All right. So that means Brock would lose to Cody and then come and lose to Gunther. It would still feel important. I'm going to say true.
Oh, it's true. It's damn true.
I think so. I think they hinted at it at Royal Rumble, and I think that's a hard-hitting match, and that's what Gunther does. I mean, I think he might be a little. I don't know how scared he'll be to chop Brock Lesnar as hard as he can and upsetting Brock. I would always feel like if I accidentally hurt Brock in any way, or I would get the Braun Strowman treatment afterwards. But if you know what I mean with that punch in the side of your temple, yeah. But I think Gunther's going to bring it. I think that's a beautiful match to happen. I think it would be a 5-star match. So yeah, and I think that's another great way. I mean, the only thing I would worry about is that Gunther would have the title for a long time by then. So then maybe Brock would be the new IC champion. I don't know, has he ever been the IC champ? I don't know. Hopefully not, because I still think it should be Sheamus who wins. But and even if it's not for the IC title, I think it could still be true. Just seeing maybe Gunther loses to Sheamus and then him and Brock have a match later on. But I want to see that match. And SummerSlam 4 months away seems like a Brock's next match after Cody. That sounds good.
Yeah, I would love that. I'd love to see that.
Yeah. Yes, sir. All right. Last one. Are you ready?
Yes, sir. Yes, let's do it.
All right. I'm going to throw this one out. I keep talking about it, and I keep talking about it, and I keep talking about it. Rey Mysterio retiring due to Dominic Mysterio. So they have the Bad Bunny thing. They have their tag team matches. Let's do SummerSlam again. It's a SummerSlam themed. Dom finally gets his revenge. He wrestles Rey Mysterio at SummerSlam and retires Rey into the sunset. Dom gets his comeuppance with his papa in the rematch.
Oh man.
False.
Oh, okay.
I do think it's going to happen at SummerSlam. I don't think Rey and Dom are done by any stretch.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're going to get Rey and Dom at SummerSlam 1-on-1, but I don't think it's going to be a retirement match. I could see it maybe at WrestleMania 40, that being the retirement match.
So that'll be like the best of three.
The best of three,
Mm-hmm.
1-on-1. You know,
all right.
Dominic gets the win at SummerSlam. Rey has the win at WrestleMania 39, and then at WrestleMania 40, it's for his career. They do mask versus hair. I could see them doing like hair versus mask or something at SummerSlam.
Yeah,
that's why Dominic's growing out the mullet.
Oh, the mullet.
So, yeah. So and then Rey has his mask, and they could do that, and then at WrestleMania 40 they'll do for their career.
Yeah,
so that's what I'd like to see. So
all right, I'm all for it. Let's do it. All right. Good segment. Yeah. That was a good new one. I like that one. Maybe we should do that for AEW too. That's a good one.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that closes up our WWE Wednesday, y'all. Whoa. As always, well, just so you know, tomorrow, my boy on Friday is flying to New York. He went from Cali, now he's going to New York. You're going to see how much everyone says, oh, New York's the best state, not California. Just wait till you go to New York and you get Hep C, and then you come back and you're like, California was so much better. But sorry, all my New York peeps. California is just,
The streets will make you feel brave. Big lights will inspire you.
Yeah. Have fun seeing Broadway. So with that said, we're doing our AEW episode tomorrow. So we'll be doing it Thursday tomorrow. We'll be doing our AEW Friday. So we'll give you a 3-day weekend from our podcast. So as always, thank you for tuning in. Our subscribers on YouTube are getting ridiculous. Let's keep it going. Keep commenting, liking us. I know we go on random times now, so it's hard to check us out, but that's okay. Watch the reruns. That's why we are on Twitch and YouTube. So thank you again, Two Dudes Wolfpack. And as always, I'm Mr. NWO.
I'm Mr. Shooting Star Press. Like he said, we're 5 away from 50 on Twitch as well, 50 followers. So hit us up there. Go follow us. Hit us up on YouTube right here on the YouTube at Two Dudes with Attitudes. Subscribe. And yeah, we're on Apple and Spotify. So go rate us and review us if you're listening to us on your cell phones or in your car. Because the more love we get, the more our content gets pushed out, and the more it's all about algorithms these days. And you guys can help us with the algorithm by telling us you love us. So we appreciate it.
You love us. All right. Thank you. Two Dudes with Attitudes. We're out.
We're out.